You may have guessed it, today's subject is an owl. But the element of art that we're going to focus on the most is texture. We're going to try to draw in all the individual feathers that you would see on an owl's body. Let's learn something about owls. Did you know that most owls live alone? A group of owls is called a parliament. Owls feed on prey such as small mammals, other birds, insects, and reptiles. An owl's foot has 2 toes facing forward and 2 toes facing backwards. Owls can make many sounds, like a hoot, screech, hiss, and scream. Did you know an owl's head is on a swivel so they can turn it almost completely around? Check this out. Here's another fun fact. Did you know owls can see far away, but not up close? They can see very well in low light. Here are some examples done by first grade students of owl paintings. Notice there's texture in the branches and texture on the feathers. Texture is a word that means how something feels, or how it looks like it would feel. You see the fluffy hairs inside the ears? That's texture. Artists use repeated lines to create texture in their drawings. This first grade girl wore an owl shirt on the day that she was painting her owl. Notice the shirt is full of repeated lines and shapes that create patterns and a feeling of texture. We're going to try to do that in our artwork too. Start by holding your paper vertical. That's the tall direction. Use a pencil to draw the scene. We will be going over it later with a black permanent marker, but never start off drawing with black marker. And you're going to draw a circle for the head. If you would like to trace a circle, find something around the house you can use to trace a circle the size of that head. Notice I wrote the word shape. Shape is one of the elements of art that we are using today. If you can find a smaller circle to trace, you may use that for the 2 eyes. Continue drawing the shapes in the face. There's pupils, which are circles. The beak is an upside-down teardrop shape, and the ears are like triangles. You may also draw a triangle in the forehead like the one here. Let's continue drawing shapes. The body is the shape of an oval. Notice it tucks under the circle head, so there is no neck. Add shapes for the wings, but if you would like, your wings could be going up in the air like it's taking off from the branch. Next, we will focus on line and texture. Use lines to create texture. Repeat lines to make the owl look fluffy, furry, or feathery. We can even use the element of art called space. Let's make the owl look up close and something else look far away. Perhaps a lake, pond, field, mountains, hills. Add a branch so your owl can be perched on the branch. Don't forget to add texture to your branch. A branch has a barky texture. Create it by repeating wiggly lines. Now you can make a moon by tracing a circle, or perhaps you would rather have a crescent moon. Did you know owls are nocturnal? That means they like to hunt at night. Part 1 of this video is all about drawing the owl with an environment and creating texture. Once you've done this with pencil, now you should go over all of your lines with a black permanent marker. When we use watercolor paint next week, it's important that the black marker be permanent so it doesn't move, bleed, run, or get ruined. This is the perfect stopping place for the end of part 1. Come back next week to watch part 2 of how we will color in this owl project. Value is a word that means the darkness or lightness of a color. So take a look at the owls in the color brown. That brown is the same brown paint in the watercolor set, but it's been changed by either adding more water to make it lighter, or adding some yellow, or a bit of orange, or any other color to vary the color brown. You're going to be mixing colors today to make that color brown have a lot of variety. Here are some learning goals for today's lesson. I can experiment with various media to express ideas. Do you know what media means? An artist chooses to use certain media in their artwork, like paints or chalk, crayons, marker, oil pastels. All of these materials are called media. The other learning goal, I can use paint to mix colors. That's where the owl comes in. You're going to be using watercolor paints to mix as many varieties of brown as you possibly can. Let's look at these owls one more time before you begin. Notice sometimes the brown looks very dark, but other times it looks very light like tan. To create that effect, you need to add lots of water to your brown paint. When it looks golden, it's usually yellow or orange that's been added to the brown. When it looks very dark, a darker color like black has been added. You can get quite a variety of browns just by adding water or a little bit of another color. Let's fill in your owl's wings with one type of brown, the belly with a different type, a third type for the face, something else for the ears, a different type for the legs, and continue on making the owl as interesting as possible. Finally, it's time to paint your background, your sky, your hills and water, and your tree. Be sure to add water to the watercolor paint so we can still see all the interesting line work you put in to create that texture. I can't wait to see your beautiful owls full of texture.